Mitchell Port Unleashed podcast, and we're back. You already know, pro wrestling conversation, and I'm joined with
Darryl Silverstein
and
Luke Michael Howard.
my brothers. How's it going?
It's going well, man.
Yeah.
Any better, that you'd have to kill me.
Oh Lord, that's how we're starting. Okay,
I'm
cool.
doing great. Can't complain.
I feel like I gotta get off one of these lights and drop an elbow drop on this guy
Oh,
here.
jeez.
That'd be beautiful.
You know, coming here with CM Punk merchandise already.
The voice of the voiceless.
You think your boy is gonna beat my guy?
So, if I was booking this WrestleMania main event, everyone's going into this thinking Roman's going to win, even me. But ticket sales are down. When WWE are desperate, what do? They smash the emergency glass. In the old days, it was Hulk Hogan. Can't get him back anymore. There's one man, The Rock. Now, Rock's broken my heart last couple of years, but that time he did come back for that tag match. That setup was the most exciting wrestling's been in decades, for me at least, and ticket prices have shown that. So get this is my booking. Roman loses because Punk turns heel at WrestleMania. Punk or Cody has to turn heel this year. Both of them is too much. Punk turns heel. How does he turn heel? Because Rock comes down, costs Roman the title to set up WrestleMania main event in Saudi next year. Night 2, finally, Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania. We set it up this year. Babyface Roman, heel Rock. That's how I do it. That excites me.
I still don't think it sells tickets this year. I still think they got a problem this year. I think there's a big hole this year that they have to fill. Now, granted, with where we are right now and when this is going to be released, there is always time. Usually people are buying tickets. But last year they were buying it on John Cena's retirement tour. I think the WWE's got a little bit of a hole to dig themselves out of. I mean, financially, they're doing well. They've got all these pre-bought events, Saudi's buying events. But back-to-back years in Las Vegas is going to be tough. And I think that they are going to commit to the booking that they have. But if you think about it, it's inexpensive on ESPN to sit and watch it at home. Why fly to Vegas and do what Vegas does and how expensive Vegas is? It's going to be tough. So I think I'm with you, Rory. I hate to say it, but I think that Roman doesn't lose 2 years in a row or 3 years in a row.
It'd be 3 years in a row.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. I hear you with bringing back Rock, but I don't think we need a year build for Rock and Roman.
Think about the last time we had that year build is when we had Cena and The Rock, and we had great TV then.
Yes.
I think WrestleMania this year is in the shitter. Either way, they'll make money. Expectations were high last year, and it sucked. Mainly the main event was horrible. It's like a movie. The movie can be crap in the middle, but if it has a good ending and a good start, it was a good movie. So WrestleMania, it could be saved. The main event's probably going to be a lot more fun than the Cody Cena match. But if we set up next year, another prediction, next year, between this WrestleMania and next WrestleMania next year, it's going to be sold to Saudi. And either they announce it this year or next year at WrestleMania that it's been sold.
So you're thinking that sold out or sold like
sold to Saudi, Saudi.
Saudi is going to have WrestleMania?
Will own WWE next year.
Oh, just in general.
Oh, wow.
General.
That's a hot take.
That is a hot take.
That's a very, very big hot take.
I mean, I don't not see something that big happening, but I think for me, and this is a complete other direction, but I don't think Triple H is going to be your booker and creative guy by the end of 2026.
Well, this is just leading up into our groundbreaking conversation we're about to have today.
Yeah, I just think that if you look at what's happened, the booking is decent. It's good. It's better than it's been in a decade. I'm pleased with it, but I really feel that he just hasn't really created that much. He did a really great job with NXT. I think that was beautiful, but he took independent guys that had a name and he was leveraging them. And if we're looking at what he's currently doing, he hasn't really built too many stars. And if we're looking at the ticket prices, I think he's caught in a catch-22. He's caught in he wants to grow the business, which is great, which is what we want. He's also caught with the financials of what TKO wants to do, and they're selling and how they're selling the company. So they're making their money regardless, but are they making the fans happy? And if they're not selling tickets at the high prices, their most creative guy is he the first to go?
Within 2 years, maybe within a year, No more Triple H, head of creative. Heyman will be head of creative. He'll
Wow, that's
outlast
another hot take.
everyone.
This guy's coming over with nuclear warheads today.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
I need
I'm
to
bringing the
duck.
guns.
Holy. So what we're really showcasing is talking about the current product. right
Yeah,
now
absolutely.
And the development. And we've have years and bodies of memories of wrestling. Where do you think wrestling has gone wrong as far as development versus more money hand over fist, if that makes sense?
Although he had a lot of issues, Vince's mentality was we need families to be coming to this, and high rollers as well, but it's built for families. And yeah, WrestleMania tickets are always going to cost a bit more because it's WrestleMania, it's the Super Bowl of wrestling. Or is the Super Bowl the WrestleMania of football? But
You can say that however you want to say it.
Yeah.
But Vince wouldn't price out families. Vince did a lot of wrong things as a maniac, but he didn't price out families. Now it's the money gouge, every dollar. And this is business, I get it. But even a crappy ticket at the back of the stadium in Vegas is what?
$300 American.
Is I thought it was $7, but is it free?
I think the package is $7.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
At the back of the stadium. Whereas what AEW, when they had the big
Yep.
all-out shows, it was like $30,
Yeah.
right, to get in for an 80,000 arena. Or stadium, I should say. They're making hand over fist more money, at least WWE, than they've ever made. Creative is horrible. I don't even watch the product. I know what's going on. I'm reading about this stuff every day. But for me to actually sit down and watch it is hard because there is no great story. I'm a big CM Punk guy, of course. But even this storyline is, I know what's going on, but it don't captivate me. Even the Royal Rumble is supposed to bring up excitement. Not excited. This Who's in the Box is exciting for me. I hope it's Jericho. I love Danhausen. He's fun, but it'd be a little bit of a letdown. We need Jericho. Jericho ain't going to sell really any tickets for WrestleMania, but I'd like Jericho to come back. Creatively, horrible. Financially, fantastic.
I've got a few points on it. First, I think if we look at how we're all consuming information and how we're really consuming video and content in 2026, WWE is more, and AEW, they're more of content builders than they are, I think, pro wrestling companies. So I think that sitting down and watching 3 hours of Raw or SmackDown or AEW or MLW or whatever independent you want to watch on YouTube, on Paramount, on however you consume it, it's a lot. And I feel that a lot of people, the older generation, the newer generation, we're just going on our phones or we're going on our TVs, watching that 12-minute clip of what the show was like, and that's how we're consuming it. That's a problem because it's so easy to love the sport and not have to buy a ticket, especially if they're not really doing anything to really go. That nothing's changed inside the arena. Like they used to have every pay-per-view was a different set. Now there's no set. So what's the ambiance, right? That worries me. On the athletic side, my fear is that there's not enough house shows. And if they're not building stars the way that they used to me, it waters down the talent. So I'll go all the way back. We used to work the independent scene, and you have to build yourself on the independent scene and get your reps in and keep getting your reps in and work for $25 and have those shitty, crappy matches over and over and over again until you got noticed. And this is pre-social media. And then you would go to Japan and you'd build yourself up. And by the time you kind of got to the big show, you may have had 1,000 matches under, or maybe 500-600 matches under. Now there's the WWE ID and their programs, and you're getting great talent that are athletic, but then they're getting just a couple of matches. And if you're not going to understand how to work a crowd, and like that is now affecting when you go to the arena to watch a show. I want to cheer for the good guy and boo for the bad guy, but sometimes the talent doesn't have that. Or we're watching and we're going, oh, that person's got terrible facials. We should never be saying that. We shouldn't be critical on a product that we love, but I think it's the reps. And I think that does hurt the overall dollar. So as a business person, is it easier for me to just sell my WrestleMania to Saudi? Absolutely. Or sell it to a state and have them bid for it? Of course, money's coming in. My shareholders are happy. But I think the best thing that has ever happened to wrestling was WCW and AEW. Because look at what it's doing to push the main guys. So I think that if you go in that little trifecta, I think that they got to get the reps in. And I think that the way that we're consuming the content now is much different than ever before.
There's a lot there. Holy damn. I think WWE goes in waves.
Absolutely.
And I think the wave that we're in right now is kind of downward because we've just exited out of the bloodline era with Roman, going over as a heel. Now he's a face. But you had a special thing that was going on with that. You brought in Cody. I still will say WrestleMania 40 shouldn't have pinned Roman personally.
Absolutely.
Right? But you have Cody where it elevated Cody, but I don't think Cody needed that shoulder rub, to now where the product is everyone's against Cody. Everybody's saying about heel turn Cody or potentially heel turn Punk. But now it looks at it where we have these old guys that are in position, the part-time wrestlers, right? And they bring that aura, that allure, but we don't have the young guys building that allure also as well. So do y'all think that we need to take more chances on the young up-and-coming talent? Like who's out there? Your Tricks.
Yeah.
You can throw Gunther in there. I'm just going to say he's newer, right? Tricks, Gunther, Damian Priest. Those names there. I'm just going to throw those out. You think they should be more elevated right now?
Yeah, but you can only elevate one guy or woman to the top at a time. Do you remember when WCW did the New Blood Rising, where they flipped everything? They got all the guys that the internet darlings loved, and they wanted them to be pushed, but they're pushing 10 guys at once, and it was too much. But if you get one guy, one girl, and you like a Bron Breakker, and you strap, doesn't mean you can't start to slowly elevate the other talent, but you choose one guy or girl and you're like, this is the guy, this is the girl, and you strap the rocket to them, you'll win. Like, for example, Vince, whoever Vince chose to be, of course it was his company, but whoever he chose to get over would get over. Drew McIntyre didn't get over the first time. He went away for a few years, got beefed up, got a different looked really good, came back, and eventually got over. He beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. The only person that Vince got behind fully, and he wanted him to be the star, that didn't get over, and there's still time, is Austin Theory. Because I heard someone describe Austin Theory yesterday as a cross between Randy Orton and The Miz. Which is odd, but Vince chose him to be the next guy, and he's not there.
I heard comparisons with him and John Cena, though. There's some folks that were saying that Austin Theory could have been like John Cena a little bit.
I don't see that.
But I don't think it's Austin Theory. I don't know. I think it's come and went. That's my personal opinion. You know what I mean? He's got the look, but I think what you need is you have to have the total package. So I'll give you an example. Folks are now saying that Trix Williams, if you give him a better moveset, that's a modern day Rock. He's got it. He's over. Like the segment SmackDown, him and Sammy, the fans are on his side.
Yep.
So it's like, is WWE creative listening to this right now? And when do you pull that trigger?
I don't know why they're just waiting. I don't understand. He's got everything. He's so marketable. He's so talented. He can speak on the mic. I think he's got the moveset. I think he's got the look. He's always creative, coming up with new gear. I think that he should be pushed to the main card. And there's nothing to worry about. Like, I think that there's such a worry with creative that there's this upper tier and then there's mid tier. Like, there is a actual distinguished higher tier, middle tier, and lower tier for the first time in a long time in WWE. And that bothers me, because what it means is, as I consumed, I'm just not going to watch a mid-level guy, because they're booking him as a mid-level guy. Trick is a future star and a future world champion. Same with Braun, but they're not being treated like they should be. There's such an opportunity for Trick. Oba, I mean, there's a guy that had instant material to be pushed right to the top. There's no reason why that guy should be doing comedy segments on a Friday night. It bothered me when I saw that.
Because that just means that there's an oversaturation with the talent. But go ahead, please.
They still haven't pulled the trigger on Bron Breakker.
Well, Braun's hurt right now, too.
I know, but he could have beat Punk at the beginning of the year. Was it Saturday night's main event or the Raw? We forget Bron Breakker's been in NXT for 5 years. They've known for 5 years this is going to be our next guy. He's been on the main roster, I want to say 2 years. it's time. You know, I'm a big Punk guy, but it's time. They could have pulled the trigger. He was supposed to be the next heir apparent. He has this lineage behind him, this moveset. His pro mobility is getting better, and they still haven't pulled the trigger on him. So if they haven't pulled the trigger on him, forget about everyone else.
That's what I'm going into.
It's safety.
It's creative, and why not flick the switch? Try something new.
They don't want to risk it.
It's a risk.
They're getting so much money now, and they're playing a safe game, right? That I think the mentality is we're making money hand over fist. That if we risk it with something that might not work, maybe we lose money. And we're making a lot of money, but creative is down. They're in that safety mindset.
But it's guys like us that have the ability to use platforms,
Yep.
podcasts, doesn't matter how big or small they are, to really speak about this, because I think creative does listen to what they see on social media.
Absolutely, they do.
And I think that you saw that with when the whole Cody got booted out of the main event when it's supposed to be Rock and Roman.
Mm-hmm.
But, we want to bring the Cody crybabies in.
Yeah.
And that worked. Now you're in a position, because you've burnt us out with Cody for the last 2.5 years, to where it's like, I love Drew. I love the getup where he's at right now. But now it's like they're making Drew to look kind of this, not a vibrant champion, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
He's always interjecting with all these other guys, but he hasn't solidified himself.
But I like that he's the bully, that he's trying to start shit with everybody. And I think that's super creative. And the way that he's using social media is unlike anybody. He's using his gimmick in social media. So he's like living the gimmick. And I really appreciate that. I think that's very creative of him. What bothers me is how Cody is being pushed, and it's almost like Roman being pushed in the mid to end of the 2000s.
Agree.
2010 rather.
Agree.
When he was being pushed, and we were saying to ourselves, this is too much. He is the chosen guy. We don't like this. We're going to rebel. And Vince was trying to make him our guy until COVID happened, and then they did the switch. And it was organically we got behind him. It's because it felt normal. But now with Cody just being this vanilla baby face, it's 2026. There's always going to be a spot for the vanilla baby face for the kids, and he will be that. But I think he's watering down his gimmick to do that. Captain Cody, Captain Rhodes, QB1, too much. It's too much.
QB1, and we already know who it is. The guy that's over.
The guy who's got the Jordan contract.
Right?
It's Roman.
It's Roman.
Yeah.
It's Roman. As much as people love him and hate him and he's not there, I have my reservations of why he's not there. Yes, it could be Hollywood, but you also have to keep in mind, like, the guy has leukemia. So you have to look at it from a lot of perspectives. He's on that limited schedule for a reason.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do. You know what I mean? And I think that's where folks are, like, maybe losing the vision. So if you give him the title, yes, maybe Braun comes back after the 6th month, takes it off of him. I think Braun right now, and this is the early prediction, I think that's your slot for Money in the Bank. I think that's what they're going to possibly do.
Ooh, that's crazy.
I think they're going to do Braun at Money in the Bank because coming off a hernia, who knows by the time he has to start taking bumps again, he's not going to be back to like early summer, I think. You know?
We're going to have to replay this.
We will.
Because I want to see if your prediction comes true. Because I think Gunther will be the guy for Money in the Bank.
Really?
Yeah.
Gunther for Money in the Bank?
Yes. Yeah, I think it sets up so many different angles for him.
Interesting.
He can cash in. He could retire Mysterio. He could retire Lesnar, and then he can take the championship.
Interesting. You got Gunther for Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Money in the Bank is not until I think September.
Yeah,
now.
it's a long time away.
Damn. Since we're throwing out these predictions early, what you got to come with one here?
Money in the Bank. I don't see Gunther winning Money in the Bank. I think this gimmick of retiring people is the. We've got AJ to talk about later on. What's going to happen tomorrow with AJ, right? But I think this gimmick of retiring people, because Money in the Bank is a gimmick, right? Having a suit. Can you imagine suit? I can't really envision Gunther walking around with that case. And I think the gimmick of retiring legends is bigger, like the streak is bigger than the title. So maybe LA Knight, early prediction. But LA Knight is the start pushing. We're going to get behind someone, and then we're a little scared. Maybe we don't want to put him over the edge there. And time's running out for LA Knight to get over. There's been talk, and I don't see this happening, LA Knight against Brock at WrestleMania. I don't see it happening, and I don't see Brock putting over LA Knight either.
No,
that's a bold statement because they're trying to allure that by the time this comes out, it's gonna be around Elimination Chamber weekend.
Yeah.
So they're saying that they're wanting to do where Brock's gonna insert himself into the chamber, all this other stuff. I won't be able to see the chamber.
He's amazing in the chamber.
Night 1 main event, Cody against Drew. This is not a WrestleMania main event.
No.
Could Night 1 be anything else for the main event? What do we think the Night 1 main event?
I don't think you have anything else in the current product right now.
Because this is not, they've already done it recently.
You don't have anything. It's probably going to be Drew Night 1. If it's Drew and Cody, I'm probably skipping WrestleMania Night 1.
Could Drew lose the title between now and WrestleMania?
Absolutely.
I don't see how you get there.
It's possible.
I don't see how you get there.
I would love to see. So going back to content, I think that every Raw, SmackDown is treated like a pay-per-view PLE because it's on Netflix. They have to impress the Netflix audience. So a title change on Netflix, I don't know if we've had a major title change on Netflix yet. That would be something.
Not that I remember recall,
right.
no.
That would be something. So it also leads the viewer to go, you know what, if you want to, it's not just automatic where the champion's going to retain every Monday night or every Friday. Watch it. Perhaps there's a title change on a SmackDown or a Raw. Who knows? That'd be something. I would love that.
Okay. Somehow just came to me. It's a good story. Randy somehow beats Drew
Yeah, I was just thinking that too.
for the title to main event Night 1 with Cody. And if Punk don't turn heel in Night 2, Cody turns heel in Night 1, or Randy turns heel on Cody on Night 1, because they haven't done that since Cody's been back.
I would love that. See, that's a better pay-per-view.
It's a good story.
You know, they are part of the legacy together. They've got that, they've got that whole generation of, their dads were both big wrestlers. I don't think that we view Randy as a heel or a face. We never know. He acts like a heel. He acts like a face. The crowd is major over for him. And they've been like that since he's been back. I mean, it's true. And then he's generational. What I said this before to both of you. Randy Orton is like basically my guy. When I was in university, he was the legend killer. I loved his look. The fact that he's still around in 2026. And then I think about my kids, my little guy, his favorite wrestler for at least 5 years was Randy Orton. So he's got that ability to cross over. And there's not many like that anymore. Now that Cena's gone, and he's one of the last from that Cena era. So if he faces Cody, and it could be 50-50 either way, they could say, hey, make Cody look like a face, or hey, make Cody look like a heel. That's very good booking.
But I think you're going to get it at Chamber. I think you're going to get that. There's going to be something between Cody and Randy in the
Good.
Chamber. I almost guarantee it. It's just how we get there. Do you do the turn fully at the Chamber? Maybe have Randy just go over and punt him?
That'd be great.
And that maybe sets up, maybe you get Cody out the way and then you do Cody and Randy at WrestleMania. Right?
To me, it's a better
I think
marquee.
that's probably the better way to go. But then it's like you have Drew against Fatu or Drew against...
I have friends who love Drew as well.
I do too.
And I just don't get him.
You don't get him?
No. He never did it for me. But that's just a personal opinion. Like he's just one of those guys that I watch and just not a fan of his. And he's probably not a fan of mine, and that's okay too.
Where do you think wrestling, because we have years of wrestling, where do you think wrestling lost it with the general population? I know this sounds like a trick question, but it's not. But where do you think wrestling was lost by the original connoisseurs?
Has ups and downs, right? And I was going to go into this earlier, but when one company is down, one is up. Example, when WWE was down, WCW was up. When WCW went down, WWE went up. When WWE was sucking, AEW came along and creatively and with figures was doing really, really well. Then they had the whole thing with Punk and then Cody leaving. Then creatively and viewers and tickets for AEW went down. And lo and behold, WWE, the Bloodline, The Rock come back, went up again. So it's almost like if there's two big companies, one of them has to go down for one of them to go up. if we go back, I don't know, to the golden era, right, which was what, 84 to 89, 1990, huge, Hulk Hogan running the roost. People got sick of Hulk Hogan. 90s came along. Hogan sensed this, went to make movies. And then wrestling went into the desert for like 5 years. WWE, the stories were they were making so little money, they were taking out the water fountains in the old Titan Tower. WCW was WCW, it was incompetent. Then suddenly Nitro comes to compete with Raw. We have the Attitude Era, Monday Night Raws, tremendous. And then WWE goes PG. Vince buys the competition. He buys WCW, he buys ECW. He's now won. He's now Thanos. He now has all of the diamonds out of there, all of the jewels. There's no competition. WWE now sucks for another 10 years. We have a moment when Punk does the pipe bomb, which was great, but then they dropped the ball on that. Continues to suck. Until recently, to be honest, and we have the whole thing with the bloodline taken off, with Roman taken off, and with The Rock. So I think they're going to run out of ways to wring money out of people. They're already discounting WrestleMania. They were 25% down ticket sales to where they were last year. The only way is down, unfortunately, for WWE now. And AEW is going up.
Yeah.
A little bit with figures, a little bit with ticket sales. Yeah. With matches, they always had it for matches, but AEW is on the rise again creatively and a little bit financially, and WWE is going down. But WWE is going to run out of ways. That balloon is going to burst. They're still going to make a lot of money, but it's going to burst real bloody soon.
Yeah. My take's very similar, but very different. I feel that they lost us in the mid-2010s, and it's like our era of anybody who's 30 plus that still consumed wrestling. And I think that in the 2010s, it was as it was in the 80s and 90s of, oh, you watch wrestling. Oh, it's, you're a wrestling fan. Like there was still that taboo around it. But recently it became cool to talk about wrestling, much like it did in the late 90s, early 2000s during the Attitude Era, because it became mainstream. Like wrestling, I believe, in my truthful opinion, wrestling has never been more mainstream. You see more celebrities wearing wrestling t-shirts. It is more common to know who they are. And you can thank The Rock and you can thank many other people that are crossing over. And you have Bad Bunny and Jelly Roll that are mega stars that are now taking bumps. That's great. But I think the change also, so my take on this is, anybody who's 30 plus that loves the new podcasts that are out there, like a Jim Cornette podcast, like a Bruce Pitchford podcast, or consume any type of podcast outside of what the WWE puts out there from Fanatics. I mean, like somebody who's in the game that's now out of the game, and you could count Russo or Shivani's or Jeff Jarrett. We are now consuming what we loved, and we're seeing a different angle of what we loved. They'll look at old pay-per-views, they'll look at old matches, they'll look at what things were like inside of the WWE offices or what it was like to build TNA. We're rehashing things that we loved. And I think that's where wrestling has changed. So we no longer have to watch what's new. We can rehash what was old, what we loved, and just revisit it again from the people who created it. And I think that it's hard. And that's why you see WWE getting into the unreal, like, oh, you love the podcast, we'll show you what's going on now. But what we're figuring out, as whether we're smart marks or just big fans, Unreal is just another scripted part of what it is. So I think it's where they lost us.
And I love that. I love both of the takes. I'm going to go Attitude Era, the Generation X, NWO. I feel like that was in our high school time.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was walking around. Everyone loved wrestling. You were recapping it on the playground and things like that. And I feel like once you added too many factions in the modern era, that's where folks got probably like, okay, I'm like, where do I go here? I got NWO pink, yellow, and purple over here, and then I got DX adding all these folks, and I feel like you got to go with an original faction. Has to be 3 people, my personal opinion. So when you had Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Hogan, that was monumental, and you sprinkle Eric Bischoff. DX when it was Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Chyna. You added X-Pac,
Yeah.
and Road Dogg, and Badass Billy Gunn. But I feel like that's where the separation for me started.
Really?
Right?
That far back?
Man.
So for
Because
me,
that's not too far back, really.
it's not that too far
Because
back.
WWE brought in NWO, what, 2002 at No Way Out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
In my head, I always thought NWO was going to be another organization that would swallow up WCW, and then they would just run this NWO league of bad guys. And then, through time, WCW would come back and they would almost run two separate leagues, which was the idea for Thunder, amongst some of the other things that they had done. Brilliant idea. But what got me onto something very similar to that is when, as you mentioned, when WWE started buying their competition, they had such an opportunity to change the look and run an ECW and run a WCW and run these different leagues completely separate. And they're sort of doing that now with how they're doing AAA and how they've got Evolve, and they look separate. They are separate, but they didn't do it back then.
Yeah, if they'd done it back then, it would have been something else. Imagine if there was still a WCW that was completely separate, but once a year, like they tried to do with bragging rights, which sucked. Raw against SmackDown, but then the Raw and SmackDown guys cross over multiple times. But you had WCW, and you had ECW, and you had WWE, and one time every year, WrestleMania, they would interact, but the rest of the time they stayed apart. Maybe even that's too much. Maybe once every couple of years it becomes the Super Bowl of wrestling.
Yeah.
But Vince, the ego,
Yeah.
or whenever you're the company that absorbs the other company, the ego, you have to put your own guys over the guys you've acquired, which never works. When New Japan bought UWFI, they put with the Nobuhiro Takada, they put him over. They put those guys over, which became huge, which eventually became Pride. When WCW created the NWO killed WCW. This is why it worked. The new guys or the new faction, the new company you've acquired, and WWE did it a little bit with the ECW, WCW. They started putting these guys over, but then within 6 months, an angle that should have been alive for a minimum of 2 years was dead. The new guys or the new company you acquire, you need to put them over your superstars. So everyone's like, holy S word, these are the guys.
Yeah. For me, it just goes back to booking. There was original booking, and now we have unoriginal booking. They could do something very similar. I mean, hey, they could have had a whole bloodline continue. They could have had the bloodline continue, and it would still be just as strong.
It was the best time of TV.
Right.
It was the best time of TV, especially what they did with Sammy. They got Sammy like
over.
To now where Sammy's kind of like, we don't know where Sammy is.
Right.
Sammy, you brought Sammy into a rich bloodline. Like when I saw that family tree and I zoomed it in, I was like, oh my God, there's so many folks that we've seen. Like,
right.
I didn't even know this.
Even
this
through injuries.
crazy, right? This is gonna sound crazy. I didn't even know Yokozuna was even freaking Samoan.
Come on.
Did not know that.
Really?
Didn't know that at all.
Wow.
So when I saw that, I was like, what the entire hell?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's what I love is even through injuries, they were able to separate the bloodline, put them on different shows. They built up Solo. Where's Solo? Like he is a star. But Barry. Right?
It's done
Barry.
now. It's done
right.
now.
So back to my original point, the creative, booking NXT in the mid to late 2010s to early 2020s with already created independent stars when they got the Undisputed Era and they got Kevin Owens and they got Sami Zayn. All those guys were at one point great independent wrestlers, and I'm probably missing so many more. But the best thing you've developed is Charlotte Flair. Okay, well, she's got the Flair name. I want to see somebody that gets over like a Goldberg for whatever Goldberg is, or like a Hogan for whatever Hogan was. Or Austin, but there hasn't been that star that Triple H has just created all the way. And Bronson Reed could be it. Braun Breaker could be it. I think that they're sitting on a gold mine with Logan Paul right now. I think that guy.
Here you go.
Yeah, I think that they could. I think that they can really make a lot of money with him. I don't like him personally, but people know who he is.
Before you go, let me throw this one out here. Do we see Logan Paul maybe Money in the Bank?
That would be amazing.
Is that a play?
That's great.
Yeah, he'd be great with that case, teasing people the whole year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But does he successfully cash in is the question.
Oh, if he does, it'd be like Seth did. You know, when you see a big match and they're both just drawn out, they just gave it their all, a 25-minute banger. And then out of nowhere, just as the screen's about to go black and everybody thinks that the pay-per-view's over, there comes his music and he comes with
pushes him over.
Like, he's just that kind of the gimmick.
It pushes him
he's
over
a dick.
Do you know what they should do with Money in the Bank? He should win it. And you know they're always shoving it down our throat. They're carrying the case everywhere. He could cash it in. He could cash it in. He doesn't cash it in. He wins it. You never mention it again on TV. You make us forget 6 months, 9 months, 10 months. You don't even sell the gimmick. And when we've all forgot, what was it? The best illusion that the devil ever did was making us believe he didn't exist anymore. Then at WrestleMania, when we've completely forgot, because they only sold us on one night Money in the Bank and they never talked about it again, then he cashes it in. Imagine the heel heat.
But it's going to be about who he cashes in on, because I think if you're going to have Logan get it and you want Logan to go over to be like the crowd favorite, like a Seth Rollins, because I remember Levi Stadium, I was in the movie theater Cineplex watching that, and this is when I didn't care for Roman, Brock was whatever. And when Rollins ran, like, I'll give Rollins props. When he broke that corner and ran, I was like, damn.
It's smart.
High speed, slides to the rope, curb stomp, 1, 2, 3.
And who booked that? Who booked that? Vince booked it.
Well, I don't know if you guys are caught up to date here. Side note, Rollins was on Shannon Sharp's podcast talking about that.
Okay.
I'm like halfway in between.
Okay.
I would say to y'all, check that out. It's a good conversation.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny because I like Seth, and then Seth got away from me.
Yeah.
But when you watch that, and you're like, okay, Seth is, you have to have the right person to talk with these guys. And I think it was a good job well done.
He's a great interviewer too.
Yeah, for sure. Going back to that, the where did wrestling have its lull? Do you think they should have split and have it Raw and SmackDown? Because from my personal opinion, it should all be one. You have 5 hours of TV a week.
Yeah.
5 hours of TV. You don't need to have all these major titles. You could have one major championship and just have everyone going from it. Yeah. And I think you would be able to separate and distinguish who's top main eventers to mid-carders, to have a solid tag team division. Do you not think they should bring it back?
I think you either go all of the way one way. Either it's everyone in the company, it's a free-for-all on every show, universal, or if you do separate the brands, there's no, for one night only, every week, one superstar from Raw can come over to SmackDown. The rule is no, maybe once a year, but you stay really, really clean with it.
Mm-hmm. So my take is, if you look at all pro sports, the East always faces the West. We are no longer in the era of baseball having an American League and a National League. So if we are going to have this, just have it all together. Like, people are too smart. So you've got all this talent. You've got 5 hours of television. You can break up their way that they've built. I've never written a script for a TV show. I've just watched it a lot. But throw in more matches. Make them 3 or 4 minutes. Cut the entrance a little bit. Have them in the ring. However they have to do it. But showcase the talent that you have. Keep it all one brand. That's just me. It's just WWE. And if you want to have a secondary brand, you have NXT. That is a separate brand. We know that NXT is a separate brand until it's not, right?
Or you put NXT and TNA into one pot and let it build there, because WWE owns the rights for TNA, does it not?
No, they're a separate entity. They're owned by a Canadian company.
So how are they getting wrestlers to come over is my question.
It's a partnership.
It's a partnership.
It's a partnership. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a partnership.
Sense.
Anthem Sports Entertainment owned them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I was under the impression, right?
Well, that's the perfect illusion. Is that that's the forbidden door. So do you think that they're aligned? Do you think that maybe they're owned, but they're not? It's just like AEW now is doing something with CMLL. It gives the impression that maybe they're owned, but Tony Khan was just in the ring presenting the championship for CMLL. It looked really good. Mm-hmm. So that's the forbidden door, but it looks good. And what did it do? It built up TNA. So now it gives that illusion that, you see Trick on both television shows. You can see the Hardys on both television shows, but it also made somebody like Joe Henry, who was a great star, build himself up to become a WWE superstar. Now he's in NXT.
You have one world champion, Remember back when I got into wrestling in WrestleMania 5, 1989, you had one world champion. The next guy was the IC champion. So you have one world champion in WWE for all of the brands. But then you have the TV champion, which is the world champion for NXT. You have if you break down SmackDown and Raw, you have the world champion who can go anywhere. The world tag team champions that can go anywhere. Female world champion can go anywhere. But then every other company has their IC version, which is their world champion. But like the NWA, you have one major guy, major tag team, major female there.
And if you really look at it, right, what we're speaking, it makes a lot of sense because, okay, you have CM Punk and Drew as your world champions.
Too many.
Right?
Yeah.
You could have just put Drew or CM Punk. If you really look between both shows, total amount together, you have 8 guys going for that major title. Because that's really how the title picture is right now.
It's too much. I loved it when there was just one champion. Yeah. Like there's only one team that can get the ring at the end of the year.
That's all you need.
So having one champion that's mega over, great. And it could be somebody different. We could have a surprise. You know, you could have a build of a trick. You know, he's won his last 8 matches and keep it like a real sport. And then, you know, he's up against Drew and, you know, Drew had a big match last week and you can build it up however you want creatively. And then he just gets the roll victory and you have like an underdog story. And maybe
the stories keep going.
Right. And I remember just being younger where you had, for me, Arn Anderson was the best TV champion. Every week you just knew that guy was going to defend his title. Maybe I'm wrong on that. And I remember Ricky Steamboat had it at some points, but he was a TV champion, which was their version of the Intercontinental Championships. And then you got the next best guy. So when Shawn Michaels had it, or Razor Ramon had it, although he didn't win the title, or Bret Hart had it, you had major faces or heels over, but they were your legitimate number 2 guy. So they were always the co-main event. And now it's just too watered down. You have the Cruiserweight, you just have too many titles. AEW, and I'm a big fan of AEW, they have too many titles. So
and their matches, their pay-per-views are way too long.
Yeah, but see, I like that.
You like a 6-hour pay-per-view?
I do, because you get your money's worth. So I've gone to their shows in Toronto, and I left going, wow, that was an amazing.
It's great wrestling.
Great wrestling.
Great wrestling.
Great show.
Yes.
You get your money's worth.
When you can get burnt out at the end, though.
You can. The opposite of that is you go to a Saturday night's main event show and you get 4 matches for 2 hours.
Commercials.
Right. So I would rather go to an 8-hour or 7-hour AEW event and see so many matches and be like just totally pleased and keep the chair than anywhere else. Then go to a WWE show and you get 4 matches.
But if every match is great all the time, is any match really great? AEW, great matches from pillar to the end, right?
Yeah.
Beginning to the end. But if everything's great, is anything great?
I don't disagree. I mean, they have phenomenal matches, but it's actually hard to go, wow, 4 hours ago, do you remember that match? I mean, it's a lot, but I am a wrestling fan, so I consume it. We've gone to AEW shows and we've enjoyed it. I love to go. And I just feel like that goes back to something else I'd said. It's like you miss those house shows where you can go there for 4 hours and you can see everybody, and they can also try new things. And I feel like they're just missing out on that right now.
All right, one world title, and it's only defended on a PLE. Maybe it does some house shows, but it's never on TV. The world champion can come do interviews, but the IC title or the US title, whatever the brand, is their version of the world title that we don't call the world title. We make it very clear. This is the US title, this is the IC title, but this is our version of the world. You can put that on TV every week if you want, but like Lou Fez and the NWA title, you have to pay for it. You're paying for this.
It's funny you say that, because if you look at all the times the world titles ever defended on Raw or SmackDown, was very rare. It was a rare occasion. Right?
Special.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you have the 4 major, you have Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam.
Survivor Series.
And Survivor Series. Survivor Series I don't even think is a major now anymore, because you have to go back to that traditional like 4-on-4 or 5-on-5.
Right.
You got to go to that. And they're like missing the ball. I get it. You do War Games and this, but there's no color. Like I remember watching War Games back in the day, and War Games had all color.
Different company.
Right? And when we say color, we mean blood. And you don't see it. You don't see it, right? AEW gives you a little bit of color.
Oh, all the time.
You know what I mean?
They are the variety. They are hardcore, lucha, American style. What's that other one from like the Shinsuke? Hard,
Strong style.
Strong style.
Yeah.
You get it. Thank you. You get it all. You get it all with AEW. So that's why, like, if you're an eclectic wrestling fan, you enjoy them all. That's what you can get. But I don't disagree with Luke. You know, when you try to legitimize what WWE is or AEW, think of what the UFC is doing. They will never put a title fight on a fight night at the Apex. They will never do it.
Depending on what title it is.
Right.
There's a potential.
Like a lighter.
Potential.
It's potential.
Yeah.
But again, they'll still put it as like a co-main event on a pay-per-view. There's no need. Like, I still remember being young and you would watch a Saturday morning WWF show or an NWA show and Flair or Hogan would be there to cut a promo, which he had said, right? And it got you hyped up. Like, we will be speaking to Hulk Hogan later to, like, okay, I'm in. I'll consume everything you want just for me to get to see my Hogan. And Flair, two different people, but Flair would come out there saying, I live on the biggest street on the biggest house, on the biggest hill, driving the biggest car. And you're like, all right, he's my champion, but I got to see him. And that's all you need to see week to week is I'm the champion and I'm setting up the next fight. And I will come watch your fight front row or at the commentator booth. And I will scout you. So I'll be better than you, but I'll watch all your 3 or 4 fights. I think it's brilliant booking. I think that's great.
Because TV was invented to hype the pay-per-view or the PLE.
Right.
So it would be squash matches. You'd have maybe one competitive match. You'd have a bunch of promos. Times have changed. We were spoiled for competitive matches. We should keep that to an extent. But it was there as a building block. You shouldn't be giving away a WrestleMania. Remember back in the day, they'd have a WrestleMania main event on Raw after WrestleMania as the WrestleMania Rewind.
Yeah.
Like, people have just paid X amount of money for tickets or the pay-per-view, and now you're giving them a rematch? The Attitude Era did this a lot. On Raw for free? You know, TV is to set up to make people pay money for the house shows or for the PLE.
This brings a good question. With WrestleMania, we see them going overseas. They're going to Saudi. It hurts your North American audience because how many folks are going to be traveling from Canada, United States to go over to Saudi, where last time I looked at the ticket prices, $3,500, $3,800 there. That's not even counting back. And then your WrestleMania ticket versus I would be more enticed to maybe go to Wembley Stadium, UK.
Absolutely.
Which is not as far of a travel, but I may get a little bit more offering. Do we think WWE is looking, we already know they're looking more at money.
Yeah.
But do you think that they're slowly trying to trickle away from the North American eyes?
Sure. But they always have. Vince did it well. You would know the best. You lived overseas, what I would count overseas in England. But even if you look at what TNA, when they were Impact, I always felt when they needed money, they would go to the UK and they would sell out.
Yeah.
Right? AEW does the same thing. They just went to Australia, have big shows. So there's a mega market for it. But traditionally, wrestling's gone all over the world always. But I think that it's too money. Like if I'm going to buy, and they're saying it's around $250 million, I don't have to worry about selling a ticket. I've just made a few billion on my TV rights deal with ESPN. My shareholders, my executive board are happy. I now sold 2 more shows and I'm getting $250. Everybody's happy. Do I really have to work the hardest for creative? Like, the fans are still going to buy. Like, if t-shirt sales are still where they are, and if viewers on my content platforms are still where they are, and whether they're happy or not, we're still making money. As Luke said, maybe we're just going to think about 2028. Like, we've already set 2026 was a big year. 2027 looks like it's going to be a big year. But I think that your core base is in North America, and you're going to start pissing them off. And then you're going to see a company that's just waiting, like an AEW, to say, great, we'll have these smaller shows. We'll do what needs to be done, but we'll wait. And then when you go to Saudi, we'll throw a fan expo type show where the independents, because we got to remember that they're not just pissing off their base. there's a lot of independent shows that do their shows around WrestleMania. So if they throw an All In or an All Out or some type of mega pay-per-view in March, they bring in the independents like a GCW amongst others, they are slowly hurting their base. And do we really want to watch a WrestleMania at 2:00 in the afternoon?
You're about to take the words right out my damn mouth because that's the facts.
Not going to happen.
I'm not watching WrestleMania at 2:00 in the afternoon.
No.
But with streaming, do we care? Because we can just watch it anytime we want, right? As long as we stay off the social. And here's a prediction.
Yep.
WrestleMania never goes to England. First of all, England ain't going to pay the money because the mayor says we want WrestleMania to come over, but he's not willing to pay the money of London. Secondly, if they do go over, it's when we've got a stadium that holds more than Wembley, holds more than 100,000 people, so they can go over, break the record, and break AEW's record.
That'd be big.
That's a hot take.
They won't just go over and do Wembley because they will equal AEW. They have to beat AEW, which means if AEW did 80,000, they legit need minimum of 100,000.
Is there
might be
a stadium being built in the UK?
There might be a place that I'm sure there is a place that isn't just a castle. I can't tell you off the top of my head, but if we have 100,000 plus and the mayor's going to pay for it, that's the only way we get it.
I think it's such smart business for WWE just to sell a show. It's already done. We don't have to worry about selling tickets. It's already made its money. Everything else, the T-shirt sales, bonus. The ads that they'll sell, bonus. All that's bonus. So they are happy. Like going into next year for 2 nights and having it's done. It's paid for. Like they are.
Do we know if Saudi is going to be a 2-night show?
I believe it is.
I think it will be.
I think it will be.
Oh, Lord.
And Royal Rumble was 1 night this year, right? Either next year, will probably be 2 years now.
It doesn't need to.
It will go to 2 nights.
Why?
Because it's more money.
It's more money,
That's
but
right.
you're not
So
one of them is going to hurt because not everyone's for the 30 women Royal Rumble.
Look, I think that WWE is slowly turning into what the Toronto Maple Leafs are. And that's just overpriced. And the product's going to be watered down. Doesn't matter if they have a winning product. People are still going to pay to go and watch.
It's a hot take.
That is a hot take.
You should look at that camera right there and cut a promo on them right now.
This guy just cut the damn promo. That's the
And look, I'm
right
a
there.
Leaf fan. I'm a hardcore Leaf fan. I'm a hardcore wrestling fan. But it's hard when the two things that I really love, which are Toronto sports and wrestling, you're just putting why. I'm the type of person that likes to work really hard, and if I had the opportunity, I'm sure we could write. But what do they need to put out the best product for when it's paid for? What do they care? They're going to piss us off. We're still going to watch.
You're still going to watch.
People are still going
to
move around their kids' schedule and their life schedule to say, you know what, from 2:00 to 6:00, we'll still watch Mania for 2 days. They know it, and that bothers me.
And ratings don't even matter so much anymore.
Right, it's on Netflix.
We don't know what the ratings are, really.
Well, you'll never get the ratings because now it's about the compilation evidence of X, YouTube, Instagram.
And it's higher than it's ever been.
And it's at the highest.
Right.
So you're not even really, you're going to put whatever you need to put, and you're going to eclipse over 500K to 1 million views, depending on what it is.
You just need a moment, a viral moment.
Just need the viral moment.
That's
you know
it.
what I mean?
It bothers me. It really bothers me because they're not listening to the people. And I think that it gives a huge opportunity for a league to come in, whether it's TNA, and maybe that's why they're working with them, so they can just keep them ready. Like you're working with us, you listen to us, but it gives an opportunity for an AEW to say, all right, you know what? Let's build March 2027. We're going to build everything. That's our peak. That's our pinnacle. All storylines will be at that point. And hopefully they have all their stars back. They throw this massive pay-per-view in North America, could be at a football stadium, could be in Jacksonville, whatever it is, and they just do a mega show with mega independents. And think about what Vegas is happening now. They're not even allowing bars to have WrestleMania shown within a radius. Are you aware of this?
No, this is news to me.
So you aware of this?
Yeah.
So bars around the radius, because if you're there, you just want to be there for maybe the meet and greets, which you frequent, right? And then you'll go to like a bar, and then the bars will have a WWE legend, and it becomes more of a meet and greet, and it becomes a fun atmosphere. They've created this radius where you can no longer go to a bar in the Las Vegas area, and they're going to hold true to that. And I'm not sure how they'll physically do it, but that is a law of sorts. But
they can put a proxy on it.
Yeah, and so now you're upsetting and pissing off fans even more. So if I was an independent and I'm banking on, we're going to run a show in Vegas, now I have to do it outside of an area. That's getting greedy. So going back to my hot take, what do they like? They're just pissing people off more. And you got to fly down to Vegas. That's going to cost money. Do you have to fly down to Saudi? That's going to cost money.
A friend of mine were thinking about that. He was saying do a day trip. But I'm like, it doesn't make sense. It's WrestleMania. And I'm thinking about like meet and greet and all the fan stuff, interactive.
Yeah.
Where it's like if WrestleMania weekend, it's on a Saturday, Sunday. Why are you taking it? And I said this openly. If he was here, I'd say it again. It's like, why would you want to go just for the day and then come back? It doesn't make sense. You want to at least be down there by like the Wednesday, possibly Thursday, the earliest.
Absolutely.
And then leave on
Monday.
Leave on the Monday. You know what I mean? And whatnot. But it's just like, it goes back to the money conversation. I think it leans into this conversation before we get out of here. MLSC, WWE signed the contract.
Yeah.
We're here in Toronto.
Yeah.
What would you like to see in Toronto when it comes down to WWE? Do we need more Raw, more SmackDown, maybe another major pay-per-view? I'm here for Royal Rumble. We need Rogers Center.
Yeah.
Hello, Rogers Center, real quick. You have 64K, 65K. We need a Royal Rumble in there.
I agree with you there. What I love, so you got to remember, Rogers is not owned by MLSC. Rogers Center is owned by the Rogers people, two different companies. Now, Rogers is a majority stakeholder in MLSC, so I'm sure that
they'll make it work.
They'll make it work. I think it's all within the family. I see it working less with the teams and more with the venues. So you have a week long, whether it's Mania and the lead up to Mania, and you can have Coca-Cola Coliseum. You can have a show at there. You could have a show at Scotiabank Arena. You could have a show at BMO. Showcase all your arenas. They've like MLSC's got beautiful arenas. Showcase them all. Have something everywhere. That would be beautiful. And then if they are able to, and if the partnership works out where you could have a major show or a 2-night show at Rogers Center, that'd be great. I think aligning yourselves to the team just makes natural marketing sense. Like you're going to have some of your people there, and you probably have some of your top talent there. But that is a strategic partnership. They don't really do it with too many teams, unless or organizations, unless they're seeing down the road there's something we don't know about, like a 2028 event or like a 2027 event where they're going, all right, we're going to hold it in Toronto. We're going to do a major takeover, maybe a month takeover, a couple of weeks. I love that. Toronto has always been a mecca for wrestling. Maple Leaf Wrestling at Maple Leaf Gardens was huge. The Tunney family was huge. The legacy of sport, of professional wrestling in Toronto goes way back. So if they're able to make it work, I'm all for it. I think that there's so much tradition of wrestling in Toronto. If they can make it work, I'd be totally open for that.
Yeah, one of the best wrestling weekends I had was when we had SummerSlam. I think you were there as well. 2019.
I was there. Yep.
Yeah, they had the whole meet and greets. It was great. It was a great atmosphere. It was a one-day event because SummerSlam was only one day, but just the SummerSlam for that weekend, it was great. Yeah, so we get a Royal Rumble for a couple of days. Yeah.
I also think that it's smart for them to do that because it wedges out AEW from holding a show in Scotiabank, at BMO, potentially at Rogers Center, which would be tough. But Tony Khan's got ties here. He owns a hotel in Toronto. So if they want to run a show here, they're going to have to run either in Hamilton, which is the new or the refurbished Coliseum. I think it's the TD Coliseum now. So that moves them outside of the GTA, or to one of the OHL arenas. So it pigeonholes them, right? That's a strategically smart move by WWE to do a partnership like that.
So let's go back to BMO, where FC plays. Mm-hmm. That's under construction right now for World Cup 2026. Yep. So is there a potential chance that we could see an outdoor venue? Because I think you can do SummerSlam at BMO Field.
Have they announced it yet?
I'm just saying, I think you can.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Because I feel like the stadium can sit what? because we have the rafters and stuff like that. I'm just looking at the whole entire getup. But the thing is, Canadian weather's so tricky.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be hard. But you gotta have to be like dead heat summer, rain or shine. You know what I mean?
Well, the big event was held in Toronto at Exhibition Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Orndorff versus Hogan. I believe 84, 85.
86.
86. Thank you. So it's possible. And it was at the exhibition grounds. So maybe they just throw a Saturday night PLE, something brand new that we haven't seen in a long time. The big event.
Because you got to just you got to tap into resources, right? I feel like Toronto, and I know a lot of folks would agree, we need another major pay-per-view. Like last year, Elimination Chamber was amazing.
This is crazy good.
You know what I mean? We never knew each other by that time. It was nice,
amazing.
You know what I mean? You know? Cheers a beer or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like what Toronto can bring is an allure because we see other wrestlers coming over here for like non-wrestling things.
Yeah, Luke
Tiffany Stratton was just down here for what? Nobody knows. She was in Toronto. I'm like, what?
Who's that? I'm sorry.
Tiffany Stratton.
Wow.
She was down here at the time recording this 2.5, 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
Right? Nobody knows what she was down here for, but she was at a Maple Leafs game. I'm like, you're from Minnesota. What is that like some sort of partnership where they're just going to appear at sporting events as well?
Or maybe she's dating one of the players.
Well,
And that
let's not
drops.
get into conspiracy theories here.
Yeah, this is what happens, right?
But I think that, if they do have a partnership, that works out well. I think that the overlap on fans is great. And the more consistently the WWE brings out athletes to all their sport products, whether it's the Marlies, FC, Argos, Leafs, Raptors, that's just great.
Tempo now.
That's just incredibly smart.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
When we look at wrestling right now,
Yeah.
final segment here, because we're going to do this again. Mm-hmm. So announcement, I'm looking at this camera, announcement is we're going to be doing this again at least once a month. We're going to just keep bringing Darryl and Luke in here, myself. You never know who might sit over right there. Could be a pro wrestler. We're figuring it out. But I feel like when we think about wrestling right now, if there's one thing you could do, if you were the GM for right now, what would it be? One thing.
As the on-air GM or actually really running this?
Whichever. We're going to freestyle this.
I get rid of Triple H and creative and I put Heyman in there.
Shit.
Start at the top.
For me, the very first thing I said was I was not impressed with the creative. So I have to agree with Luke. I think that a change would be great. Imagine in 2026 or 2027, for the first time ever, no connection to a McMahon is in WWE. Like that's a crazy hot take, but it's a major shakeup. And I don't think people are necessarily just watching because of the lineage of the McMahon family anymore. I think that's overdone. But I think there's a lot of creative people that are probably not getting their say. And who knows what stories that are just get buried. And we're learning that so much now with podcasts. For me, I think it is the evolution of AEW over 2026. Watch. That's what I think. And if people choose not to watch because it was the cool thing when they had Punk and they had Cody, and then it went down for a bit, watch it. I really truly feel that AEW is going to be much bigger by the end of the calendar year of 2026, and it'll impress a lot of people.
Okay. For me, because the field I'm in, podcasting, I would love to see more wide scope podcasts at certain events and more fan interaction if they could potentially do that.
Yeah.
Because I think that he actually came on the show a while ago. Chris Van Velt.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he came on the show a long time ago.
Wow.
Probably 2.5, 3 years ago. And I love how he'll do in-house live event podcasts.
Yep.
Where you get the fan participation.
Yep.
So I hope, MLSC, if you're listening, please, I understand, whatever. But let's get some live podcast interactions with fans like us. To be able, I understand they're probably going to be like, you can't ask this question, can't ask this question.
Sure.
But have the fan participation where it needs to be, because I think that us as consumers would love to see that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you could be able to ask a Roman a question, or a Gunther, or a Cena, or a Cody, or a Drew a question. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I actually would go beyond that. I'd love to have a conversation with people that are involved in the business side of the sport.
Right?
Because we're all into the talent, but they're characters.
Yeah.
And they have limited say in what they're able to do. So they're going to be in gimmick. But I love to speak to a writer. Like, what is happening with this person? I mean, obviously, they can't share too much. But that'd be my take on it. Yeah.
For sure. Well, before we get out of here.
Yeah.
I know you're coming on the show.
Yes.
Soon. We're going to be doing the baseball thing. We're going to be doing some wrestling stuff and whatnot. But plug everything, who you are, where everyone can check you out. And then we'll go to you, Darryl.
Sure.
Great. Lukenosis.com, LUKENOSIS.com. All my hypnosis stuff for shows or for therapies there. And on any form of social media, just put Lukenosis or Hypno Punk and you'll find me.
And he's damn good. I'm going to tell you that real quick. Before Darryl goes, before my brother goes. You know what I mean? Luke's my brother now too. But I'm going to tell you this right now. He's good. He did some stuff in the studio here, and I was like, that's why I kept my jacket on today.
I'll tell
Darryl,
you,
go ahead.
He is good. He is good. I cannot say. I've known Luke for a while. He is as good as it gets. My name is Darryl Silverstein. I'm the owner and founder of j.birdy Baseball Co. You can get us at j.birdy.ca. So the letter J, BIRDY.ca. If you are into baseball, Canadian baseball, heritage, nostalgic type clothing, we are your place for it. You'll love it. Find us on Instagram at j.birdy Baseball Co. Boy, we're almost north of 7,000 followers now.
Jeez.
The last time I was chatting with Rory, the goal for the year was to get to 10. I think we're close to getting there. So
you're going to get there. You'll get there before All-Star break. I think even sooner.
We have a new line called the Beachville line that's selling. We have 7 new hats coming out between March, April, and May. It's going to be an outstanding summer, and I can't wait to be back because we got something new launching.
Love that. And I'm going to tell you this. We're all going to be at a baseball game. So my Toronto peeps, if you see j.birdy, you see Luke, this Mitchell Port and Leach podcast, remember they told you. We sent them. All right? I appreciate you, brothers.
Thank you.
You.
Appreciate you.
Definitely.
Thank you.